I'm Karen Confederac, here to extend a hearty Red Friday welcome to those of you in attendance this morning and to those of you viewing on our Red Friday YouTube site. By the way, would you all in attendance please face the back of the room and give our YouTubers a hoo-ah for their support of our mission. Thank you. You've joined us for the 274th consecutive Friday meeting of the East Valley Red Friday Patriots, and we sincerely thank you, each of you, for sharing in our passion to remember everyone deployed. We in America are blessed to have not only an elite armed forces dedicated as guardians, of our freedom, but we are also most fortunate to have a plethora of first responders dedicated to providing emergency services to the citizens they serve in communities across this great land. Each day, many of our nation's firefighters, police officers, and military service members are placed in harm's way. We in this group know all too well the potential life-threatening dangers associated with many of those missions, whether foreign or domestic. We also know that some of those extraordinary men and women will not return to their loved ones. Recently, an up-and-coming 25-year-old recording artist captured in song a tribute to these exceptional men and women that we are so dependent upon, our first responders and our armed forces service members. Please stand and join us in our pledge to Old Glory. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and now I turn our program to Dick Nations.
This is the first time we've had 4 microphones going here, and so this is a very busy mixer this morning, and we apologize for that. We've got a few guests that I would like to take this opportunity to introduce this morning. Kenneth Stossel. Kenneth, where are you? Stand up over there, Kenneth. Kenneth is a guest of Nancy Fassberger, and let's see here. You were Airborne Military Police, 101st and 8th Infantry Division.
That is correct. I left the service in '64. While I was in Germany, we had the sad moment when our President Kennedy was assassinated. And I hope that this country is on its way forward, not backward.
We appreciate very much so your attendance today. Thank you for your service. And Judy Overmeyer. Judy, I think that Michael was here last week, if I'm not mistaken, so glad to have you with us today. You're an Army wife. Your better half made quite an impression on us last week, so we're glad to have you with us today. Thank you. And Wayne Mathis. Wayne, stand up over here 1 second. Wayne is a resident of Pumice del Sol East. We're glad to have you here. United States Navy veteran, 1965 to 68. We need a few more Navy folks in here. Thank you for joining us today. So, just out of curiosity, what brought you here?
A 2019 Subaru.
Let me rephrase that, Wayne. Let me rephrase that. Is there a particular recruiting initiative that was going on over in PDSE that could have brought you here? Did you see our advertisement somewhere in weekly or monthly newsletters?
My wife got an email and she said she didn't want to cook today.
That was wise, very wise. Well, glad to have both you and Joni here today. Thank you for joining us, very much so. Lee Huff. Lee, where is Lee? Lee's standing back here. Lee is also a guest of Nancy Fassbender, and Lee is a, where are you a resident of Apache Junction?
I'm actually in Santan Valley.
We're absolutely great to have you here today, and I hope that you know the company that you keep with Nancy.
I'm afraid I do. But I will not judge you by your association with Nancy if you don't judge me by my association with Nancy.
We're going to learn a little bit more about Nancy today, and I think both of us will be kicking back on our heels. For all of you guests, thank you very much. So I didn't miss anyone, did I? Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate tremendously your coming out, and we're hoping that you're going to be able to return at some point here in the near future. Yesterday, Thursday, August the 29th, was the United States celebration of the 108th birthday of the United States Marine Corps Reserve. And this morning, you will note that a table has been reserved front and center in recognition of our U.S. Marine Corps veterans, and that table is reserved to accommodate Marines who served our country, because all Marine veterans will likely to have served in a Marine Reserve capacity at some time. They will have served either as a selected Marine Corps reservist drilling once monthly, or as a member of the individual R.E.D Reserve, most of whom are former active component Marines who've completed their military service obligation and their initial contractual period of active duty, which is usually 4 years, or as a retired commissioned officer or senior non-commissioned officer who can be called to active duty upon certain circumstances. So regardless of prior duty status, they currently are and always will be Marines. And we have the utmost respect and appreciation for their service. You know, the Marine Reserve has been activated for numerous engagements since its formation in 1916. That would include World War I, War II, the Korean War, Operation Desert Storm, Operation Enduring Freedom, and Operation Iraqi Freedom. The current strength of the selected Marine Reserve is 35,500. They are drilling at over 184 reserve training centers located throughout the United States. And that Marine Corps Reserve supplements the 172,500 Marine personnel currently serving on active duty. The Marine Corps Reserve is headquartered in New Orleans. They have as their motto, augment, reinforce, and support. Of note is that the United States Marine Corps is currently exploring the possibility of fully integrating their reserve units within the active components, which could prove to be of immense strategic value. Logistics might prove to be a challenge initially, but the likelihood is that those logistics can be worked out. If all or most of that restructuring of the Corps is implemented, that restructuring would have a major cultural impact on the Marine Corps. Historically, the Marine Corps infantry has been the centerpiece of the Marine Corps and the principal instrument by which it wins battles. Its mission has been clear: locate, close with, and destroy the enemy. Under the proposed restructuring, the Marine Corps would win battles using long-range fires from artillery and aviation. The infantry role would be most likely defense to protect those long-range fire assets. So it will be most interesting to see how the Corps, going through this restructuring, actually rolls out over the next few years. But in the interim, the United States Marine Corps remains one of the most important military assets this country has. So to all Marine Corps reservists and to our Marines who have joined us here today, thank you for your service. Can we have an hoorah for these Marines? Thank you, gentlemen. You know, over the past couple of years, I've shared with you folks a variety of stories about my exceptionally colorful East Texas family. And I shared those stories so that you might better understand and appreciate my roots and the environment which I was raised over there in those beautiful piney woods of East Texas. Now, I think you'd have to agree some of my uncles and my aunts and cousins are just that, colorful. They may not be the sharpest knives in the drawer, but colorful they are. Now, one such character is my second cousin, Moss. Moss was raised in Deweyville, Texas. Population 517, heart of Newton County. Well, from the time that Moss was old enough to walk, he couldn't stay out of trouble. By the time he reached teen years, he was having one run-in after another with the law. I recall the first time that he was nabbed by a badge. He was over in Mauriceville, about 15 miles from his home, walked into a Burger King, 5 a.m. in the morning, flashed the gun to the young man behind the counter and demanded cash. But the clerk turned him down because he said he couldn't open the cash register without a food order. So Moss gave it some thought, and he placed an order for some onion rings. But the clerk then said onion rings weren't available for breakfast. Well, Moss got frustrated, ran away, only to be arrested within the hour for attempted armed robbery. Then there was the incident when Moss was over in nearby Nacogdoches, Texas, and he grabbed the purse of a lady that was coming out of a 7-Eleven convenience store, took off running. Well, the store clerk immediately called the police, and the woman was able to give them a detailed description of Moss. And within minutes, the police apprehended him. They put him in the patrol car and they drove back to the convenience store. Moss was then taken out of the car and told to stand there for a positive ID, which he replied, "Yes, officer, that's her. That's the lady I stole the purse from." That is stupidity personified, and the incident cost Moss dearly. Then there was the time when Moss had driven over to nearby Vinton, Louisiana, went into a Circle K store, put a $20 bill on the counter and asked the clerk for change. When the clerk opened the cash drawer, Moss pulled out a gun and demanded all the cash in the register. Clerk quickly put the money in a plastic bag. Moss grabbed the cash and ran off, left the $20 bill on the counter. Now, the total amount of cash he got from the drawer was $15. Well, Moss ended up hiring the local law firm of Buddy, Bud, Bubba, and Bo to represent him on this particular case. And the law firm that if someone points a gun at you and gives you money, is a crime actually committed? That didn't go over well with the jury, and Moss spent more time in the Huskow for that particular stunt. Now, one of the latest events on the long list of Moss's capers highlights the epitome of stupidity. In fact, it rates 5 stars in anybody's book. And what's interesting about this particular stunt, unlike so many before, is that Moss was not arrested, he was not charged, he was not tried, he was not convicted of his misdeed. As I understand it, there was a motorhome that was parked on the street in downtown Deweyville, and Moss attempted to siphon gasoline from it by sucking on a hose. Well, apparently he got much more than he bargained for. In fact, the police were called, and when they arrived at the scene to find this very sick man curled up on the curb next to the motorhome, and there was some spillage of sewage out there. And in an interview, a police spokesman said that the man admitted to trying to steal gasoline, but he plugged his siphon hose into the motorhome sewage tank by mistake. Well, thank goodness for Moss, the owner of the vehicle declined to press charges, saying that it was the best laugh he had ever had, and that the perpetrator had already been punished enough. Now, in a recent phone conversation, when I was talking to a few of my East Texas kinfolk, I was told that Moss has sworn off criminal behavior. He's now gainfully employed as a septic truck driver for a local company called Yesterday's Meals on Wheels. Now, folks, this is just another saga in the litany of nation's family stories. So, I got a slew.
Can we get a ooh-ha for that?
Ladies and gentlemen, I've long been an advocate of volunteerism. In other words, the offering of one's time, energy, and resources in support of worthy causes. It is the army of dedicated volunteers in communities across America that deliver countless services and support to our citizens. Ask yourselves, where would we be without volunteers? This morning, I have the distinct honor of introducing our guest speaker, Nancy Fassbender, an individual who truly represents the epitome of volunteerism. Allow me to share with you some of our speaker's endeavors and honors. Nancy Fassbender is a United States Army veteran who served during the period 1975 through 1978 as a helicopter mechanic and as a helicopter crew chief. As a result of her military experience, Nancy became a strong advocate for numerous state, local, and national veteran initiatives. She is a former board member and historian for the Pinal County Veterans Memorial Foundation and recently authored a book titled My Fallen Hero. That book is as a result of her experiences in working with many of the Pinal County veterans. She is an honorary member of Arizona's East Valley Ex-Prisoner of War Chapter, as well as an honorary member of the Military Order of the Purple Heart Apache Junction Chapter. Over the years, Nancy has volunteered for many veteran-related events in the Valley. In fact, this will be her 4th year as a volunteer for honoring the veterans who are interred in the Mountain View Cemetery in Mesa. In 2020, Nancy was inducted into the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame Society. To be inducted into the hall is indeed a distinct honor. Only 1/10 of 1% of veterans in Arizona have been the recipients of this high honor. This recognition serves as a testament to Nancy's unwavering commitment to her fellow veterans and her community. Nancy, in fact, is now serving as a board director to the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame Society. For the past 5 years, Nancy has served as an active member and ambassador of the Apache Junction Area Chamber of Commerce. She enjoys networking, spreading the word about Apache Junction and Gold Canyon communities, and promoting what those communities bring to the table for prospective commercial enterprises considering locating to this area. In October of last year, Nancy was the recipient of the Chamber's 2022 Community Cup Award for her volunteerism in making a difference in her community. Nancy, I think a bunch of people in this room recognize that particular hall. Do y'all know where that's at? That's the old Tumbleweed Grill where we were meeting for a while. And Nancy, that whole group, except for that police officer, looked like they got on boot scooting clothes there. Did you boot scoot that night?
Oh, yes.
Additionally, Nancy has made it her mission to thank Vietnam veterans for their service and welcoming them home. She has participated in more than 60 pinning ceremonies since she became involved in this mission 3 years ago. And in March 25 last year, Nancy was asked by the Department of Defense to organize a Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans celebration. Approximately 1,800 people attended that event. During the ceremony, Nancy was honored with the Quilt of Valor, which is awarded to a service member or veteran who's been touched by war. The quilt says unequivocally, "Thank you for your service and sacrifice in serving our nation." On September 1st last year, Nancy was honored by the Daughters of the American Revolution and presented the Community of Service Award for 2023. This past May, Nancy was selected to be one of the Mesa Hometown Heroes. Her banner was hung on Main Street at Country Club Boulevard. Additionally, Nancy has been nominated to be the Grand Marshal of the Phoenix Veterans Day Parade for her service era. Today, Nancy serves as a location coordinator for Wreaths Across America and has just launched a drive for Wreaths Across America sponsorships. As you will learn from her presentation, for every $17 donated to sponsor a wreath, $5 will remain in the Valley to assist other veteran groups. Here to offer insight about the Wreaths Across America program, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Nancy Fossbender.
Thank you, Dick. I don't know where he gets all these pictures from or anything, but I am just Nancy, okay? I am just Nancy. That's all I am. I enjoy doing what I do. How many have heard about Wreaths Across America? Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit more background in this. Hang on a second. I have never. Oh, I know. Where's the clicker? There we are. Okay. But anyway, I'm going to take you back to where it really all began. Do you all see this picture? Yeah, okay. It's working. This is Karen and Morrill Wilson. Worcester. And they had a company making wreaths back in 1992. And Morrill had an abundance of wreaths. So he was trying to decide what to do with them. Well, he remembered that Arlington Cemetery was very special to him. And so he decided to pack up his leftover wreaths and go to an area in Arlington Cemetery that hardly got any more visitors because it was an older part of the cemetery. So he was doing that until 2005 when the media got hold of it. And I'm showing you a picture of one side of Arlington Cemetery, but the media who got the public's attention will show up at the end of my presentation because it's awesome. But they wanted to do what he was doing at Arlington. He said, hey, why can I not do that in my hometown? So they got together, and in 2007, they decided that they were going to do a nationwide, anybody that was interested in honoring the interred veterans in their hometown cemetery, that's what they were going to do. So they adopted the motto called Remember, Honor, and Teach. And that was remember our fallen, honor the veterans, and teach our children what it costs to have freedom. Why a wreath? A wreath is a symbol of recognizing honor and respect. It is a living tribute renewed annually. We want people to see the tradition as a living memorial to veterans and families. And this is the size, pretty much what we lay on the graves to honor our interred veterans. How many people recognize this field? This field, all right, Fred. This field is a blueberry field. The corporation of Wreaths Across America is in Columbia Falls, Maine. And there's fields and fields of blueberries. And of course, that's what the blueberries look like on a bush, close to the ground. And of course, Nancy had to partake in picking. And yes, the berries are good right off the fields. Mr. Worcester not only have evergreens on his acres and acres of land, he also has a national cemetery. He has a working church and these cabins. So if you want to come and visit, they will put you up on it. And I wanted to mention that all the trees are evergreen trees. They're volunteers. And that's a key note, volunteers. Everybody that works with Wreaths Across America nationwide, we all are volunteers. So it's kind of symbolic that it's not a tree farm. They grow naturally. This picture here has two guys up on it. They run robotic drones. And when I was talking to them, they say it's an all-day video game. And they spray for blight and stuff, but it does not harm the atmosphere, the animals, or the people. And I'll show you a few pictures of what this drone actually looks like. This one is coming in for a landing, and that's one up close flying, and they have sprays on the skids. And that's what this one looks like. Now I'm going to take off and give you a ride. Now you know why they say it's a video game. Reach Across America also has a remembrance field. This is designated to honor all veterans, past veterans. And we can request a dog tag with their name and where they served, and you can hang it on a tree. When the wind blows in this valley, sounds, the dog tags tinkle in the field, and we say it's the angels coming down for a visit. And this is the field. And I chose in memory of Jan Snyder's husband, Gary Snyder. He was the commander of Post 7968 at one time. And Lee Huff's father, Steve Huff, who was in the Navy, to get their dog tags made and hang them in the field. So their dog tags are hanging in this field. And this is what the dog tag looks like. They do tipping every 3 to 4 years, sometimes 5 years. And tipping means that they take off the growth of the tree that has grown. And so that means that they take about 12 or 18 inches off of the growth, and no evergreen tree dies in making a wreath. It just keeps growing, and they go back and tip it. And this is the form that they use to make a wreath. And this is they have a lot of barns, and they have tiny, tiny cubicles. It just fits. You just fit in there. And this is the table to work on, and this is an up close where they place the form on it and put the evergreen tippings on it. Now, they employ seasonal workers, and they start 52 days out before shipping. And they have a machine to shape after they put this all together, and it's like an upside-down hedge trimmer. And, oops, it's not changing. Come on. Dick, I may need you. It's a video.
Anyway, the untrimmed wreath will go on this thing. And it's basically a hedge trimmer, up and down. And you turn it on. All right, let me see your fingers. And then when it's...
They do it rather quickly, too, because they make 90,000 wreaths a day. 90,000. And like I mentioned, they do 52 days before they are shipped out. After packing the 12 wreaths in a box, they are loaded on a crate and then on to the semi. In 2023, we have had 717 truckers volunteer their time to drive across the nation from Maine to wherever the cemetery is to drop off the wreaths. This is our semi coming in to our cemetery at Mountain View Cemetery. And if you notice, the semis are decorated. And this one had no exception. The truck driver's from Texas. I'm sorry, I cannot turn these. You'll have to, okay, there. And this is what he drove across the nation to us. This is our receiving our 2,300 veterans, wreaths for our interred veterans, I should say. Okay. Okay, that's where we are now. Thanks to our volunteers, we have been able to have them and help us out. I'm sorry, I'm echoing now. Okay. And then this is volunteers. We meet the day before our ceremony and take them out of the box so that the wreaths can breathe. And so I asked for volunteers for Friday as well to help us. And this, you're going to have to, Dick, help me here. And this is them doing it. We have a series of them I wanted to show you. They're laying them out so that they can breathe and get ready and clean up the cemetery before the day of the ceremony. On Saturday, December 14th at 9:30 at Mountain View Cemetery, this is what this year's event will be. And our theme this year is Live with a Purpose. Our guest speaker will be Arizona Adjutant General Carrie Mullenbeck. She is in charge of the Department of Emergency and Military Affairs. Major General Mullenbeck received her commission in April 2021. And as a special treat, I'm sorry, I'm with, this is the JROTC. We are going to have them from Apache High School. I love and enjoyed involving the cadets. And so I'll show you a little bit of what happened last year. And we had bagpipes from the Mesa Fire Department and the Superstition Fire Department. And we had a bugler that announced the ceremony. And this is with the wreaths and our branches of service flags here. Okay, you all will recognize this picture of Kelly McDonald. Each year we have a ceremony where we honor the branches of service for all the veterans that are served. So this is a picture they are representing. They're going to do the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And this gentleman, I don't know if you know him, he's a Vietnam veteran. He was a medic. We call him Big Band-Aid, and I'll tell you why I call him Big Band-Aid, but it's Chuck Byers. And Chuck Byers, we tell the children in the audience, if you want to help participate and lay a wreath, honor a wreath on the branch of service, to please pick your veteran. And so we had this little girl. She ran up to Chuck and said, I am 7 years old today. It's my birthday and I want to be with you. So the veterans teach this child and the children with them why we are doing this and what it means. And they carry the wreath over to the flag of the service that they represent. And she was so proud to carry that that wreath. And then when they get to the stand, they salute and and bow their heads. Okay. And this is the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And we also have bagpipes performing. And this here, we encourage families to come. Bring your children. Bring anybody, your grandparents, anything. And teach them, make sure the children knows why we respect our interred veterans. And this father here has two children, and that's what they're doing. Oh, well, that's me. And here is a person that is honoring a fellow server, sir. And this is what the grave sites look like after we perform. Okay. Of course, we have bashers. They donate donuts. So anybody want a donut? Come Saturday morning. We'll feed you. But it's really an honor that they have taken on. This is their, this will be their 4th year of doing that for us. And Texas Roadhouse in Gilbert. Everybody been in there? Yeah. Please tell Jim and Carrie and everybody there, thank you, thank you, thank you. They are great supporters of us veterans. They are going to feed us lunch. They volunteered to do that last year, and they are doing it again this year. And this is, we had over 600 people show up last year. And it was such a nice day. They did the yard and everything else and stayed there. They talked to other veterans and family members. And here's the little boy. He's just having a good time, just laying in the grass, thinking, I don't know, but he's enjoying himself. And of course, we cannot forget the family pet. Lady has been with us for the past 3 years, and she comes every year and is really acknowledging. Now, how can you help? As Dick mentioned, we are looking for sponsors and volunteers this year. The wreaths are $17 a piece, and if you purchase 100, you will have your name, and your name on the flyer and everything else. And as a special thank you, Wreaths Across America will give us $5 back for every wreath that is purchased. So that way we can use it for helping out in our veterans community. I am with the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Chapter 2560, and that's what we have done. We have put back our money into the community. We have other groups that help us, and they are the Daughters of the American Revolution chapters, and you know Kelly and Sarah and Karen and stuff, you've met them. They have a little a business card that you can purchase from them on a wreath if you're interested. I also have Mike Overmeyer and Judy Overmeyer here. They represent the Military Order of the Chapter 2560 here in Apache Junction. And then also in a group, I have Jan Snyder, who's with the VFW Chapter 7968. And she has order forms as well. And then one other group that we have is VFW Post 9399. Now we all work together and get the wreaths, make sure that they all are covered for Mountain View Cemetery interred veterans. And so far we have been able to honor every veteran that's there. But so what we're asking also, excuse me, is to please tell your neighbors, your family members, your businesses, anybody that can help. Ken over here, he lives in Dolce Vita, and he's a very good worker of ours. He gets everybody in there, his community involved, and they have purchased wreaths, and I think when they see him on the street, they run the other way, but he is a go-getter. Okay. Also, this year, as a special treat, we have the Hugh O'Connor Memorial Pipe Band. And it was formed by Neil Flint in 2006. And a little history about this is Neil brought together a talented group of pipers and drummers to honor Hugh O'Connor. He was an exiled Irishman who founded the Spanish Presidio from the Tucson, Arizona, which eventually grew into Tucson. Major Piper Leonard Wood of Phoenix, Arizona, has taken the reins and has reached out to pipers and drummers from across Arizona and the United States to reform this band. This band consists of musicians who are firefighters to small business people. So I'm excited that they're volunteering their time to come out here for this event. And here is our flyer. I have flyers here at the table over here if anybody's interested in picking one up. Doing about 30, is that okay?
It's perfect. And if somebody comes up behind you, just let them go around you.
Excuse the dirty windshield, too.
It's all right.
Yes, $17. Yeah, we have forms, and that will tell you you can either do a link or a QVC, or give us the money and we take it. Yes. I'm sorry, yeah. It's the Pledge of Allegiance, and it's very... Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It is deductible. It's a 501c organization. Yes. Okay, those who are in the crypts and stuff like that, we encourage the staff will hang them instead of you guys, because we don't want you climbing up. If you have a special person that you want to have a wreath lay on that grave or in the crypts and stuff, you can recommend it, and we will do it. That's another thing that we do. There's so much I could go on in detail on this stuff, but if anybody has questions, I'll remain afterwards too. So in closing, I'm sorry, this is very special in my heart here. I have a poem that I would like to share that I have in my book, and it means a lot to each and every one of you. I'm sure any veteran, if you listen to the words closely, you'll find yourself in this poem. It's called I Am a Veteran, and it's by a good friend of mine, Andrea Brett. You may not know me the first time we meet. I'm just another you see on the street. But I am the reason that you live and breathe free. I am the reason for your liberty. I am a veteran. I work in the local factory all day. I own a restaurant just down the way. I sell your insurance. I start your IV. I got the best looking grandkids you ever did see. I'm your grocer, your banker, your child's school teacher. I'm your plumber, your barber, your family's preacher. But there's part of me you don't know very well. Listen a moment. I have a story to tell. I am a veteran. I joined the service while in my teens. I traded my prom dress for camouflage greens. I'm the first in the family who did something like this. I followed my father like he followed his. Defying my fears and hiding my doubt, I married my sweetheart before I shipped out. I missed Christmas, then Easter, then the birth of my son. But I knew what I was doing had to be done. I served on a battlefront. I served on the base. I bounded up the wounded and begged for God's grace. I gave orders to fire. I followed commands. I marched into conflict in far distant lands. In the jungle, the desert, on mountains and shores, in bunkers, in tents, in dank earthen floors, where I fought on the ground, in the air, or on the sea, my family and friends were home praying for me. For the land of the free and the home of the brave, I faced my demons in foxholes and caves. Then one dreaded day, without drummer or fife, I lost an arm. My buddy, he lost his life. I came home and moved on, but forever was changed. The perils of war in my memory remained. I don't really say much. I don't think I can. But I left home a child, but became home a man. There are thousands like me, thousands more who are gone. But their legacy lives as the time marches on. In white crosses and rows and names carved in Q remind us of what these brave souls had to do. I'm part of a fellowship, a strong, mighty band of each man and each woman who has served this great land. And when Old Glory waves, I stand proud. I stand proud and I stand tall. I help keeping her flying over you, over all. I am a veteran, and thank you.
I want to take this opportunity to present Nancy with a certificate of appreciation. We are now welcoming you into the Order of the Red, and we want to recognize your commitment for your support of veterans, veterans initiatives, our East Valley Red Friday Patriots group, and our United States deployed service members.
Thanks so
very,
much,
very
Dick.
much.
Thank you.
Now, Nancy, we have a lapel pin that is a Red Friday lapel pin, and this lapel pin is quite coveted among this group.
I've seen it.
And I would certainly think that if anyone is deserving of such recognition, it would be you. May I take this opportunity to pin you?
Ugh. Anyway, thanks a lot, Dick. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I do want to say one other thing. I'm leaving on vacation. I'll be gone 2 Fridays, so don't think that I just deserted you guys, because I've enjoyed it, and I'll be back, okay? Thank you. I have 4 pinnings while I do my vacation, so it's going to be kind of like a working vacation, but it's something I always do. So thank you, thank you.
I would like to take just a moment to make a brief announcement. We're still accepting volunteers for our East Valley Veterans Day Parade schedule for Monday, November 11. Additionally, if any of you happen to have a convertible that you're willing to drive in the parade, it's only a 3/4 of a mile route downtown Mesa. That would be a tremendous asset for our group. We want to have 2 vehicles, and a convertible would be great. My wife asked me specifically to make that request because she would like to ride in the convertible. Now, if you do not have a ragtop, then maybe you know somebody that does, and they might be willing to join us for the event. Just please let me know. Again, a shout out to those of you that are previewing this week's meeting on YouTube. We appreciate very much so you're coming in and joining us on YouTube. Also, for those of you that have yet to check out our YouTube site, I encourage you to do so. And please share it with friends, relatives, and especially those folks that may have a service member that may currently be deployed. To our first-time guests here today, thank you very much so for joining us. We appreciate your support and sincerely hope that you will return to share in our camaraderie. And as you're leaving today, we would appreciate it if you would drop off your name tags on the table in the back. You guys have an absolutely wonderful weekend.